Let's go. I hope you guys are ready.
Can I answer some of the people that are saying stuff? Would that be okay? So somebody asked about my tattoos, and so these are my favorite scriptures are here, but I got one at a time because I didn't think I was going to ever get more than one tattoo, and I just kept going back and going.
Fascinating. Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video
Christina Randall dropped a fascinating. Love it.
is for educational purposes only. A semi-update-ish, I guess, type of video to the Mica Miller situation. Her husband, JP Miller, Pastor JP Miller, has given a couple interviews. And y'all, he's given quite a few interviews. But JP has been busy over on the TikTok, giving interviews with people on TikTok. And I've seen things here and there that you guys have sent me. And I've just been kind of like, just watching. But after he gave this really big interview to News Nation, I'm like, we got to talk about this. We got to break this down because it is fascinating to me to watch this person. And not fascinating in like an admiration type of way, but more of like a science project. Like, whoa.
A science project?
Seriously. I'm not going to go over the whole Mica Miller thing. I've got a playlist started. I've done multiple videos. And so I'm just going to pick this up like everybody at least knows the basics, because you may not know everything that we're going to talk about in today's video because a lot of stuff has happened over time, but you at least know the basics and who these people are. So this is Micah, and this was her husband, JP Miller, who is the pastor over Solid Rock Ministries, and his father was a pastor, and this is his church. The Solid Rock is his church, and he was getting ready to get a plane and all kind of stuff. So a whole bunch of stuff going on. Him and his wife has split from the way everything seems, and this is a good place to tell you guys that everything in this video is alleged. I do not know any of these people. Please go do your own research, form your own opinions. I pull all of my information from very public sources that are already out there, filter it through my own words, my own opinions, and give it to you like that. So Micah left JP Miller a year prior to her passing over earlier this year, and they were living separately. Ever since she passed away and people started digging into the mysterious things surrounding that incident, JP Miller has been doing some wild things. And this is what I mean by fascinating to watch. The way that this man acts and reacts and tries to control the narrative and like all this damage control with all these interviews is just like, wow. Interesting. And also I find that every interview that I watch him in, it's a different person almost, or we'll just say a different version of him. And I do need to throw this out there. I don't know him, you know, maybe he's just going through a lot. And so every time you see him, he's just on a different emotion, and maybe that's completely normal. I don't know. It don't seem normal, but who am I? I ain't no professional. Okay. He was asked by the interviewer why he was speaking out now, like why choose to speak out now? And this is what he said.
I think a part of it is I finally got the approval of my attorneys to do so. They, the ones working on the defamation cases, they said it's easier to win a defamation case the more the people talk. And so they've been collecting a lot of evidence over the past while. And also I think that now that some of the emotion has died down in the world and with people that are led by their feelings, I think now they deserve to hear some logic and some truth and make their own assessment.
And if I believed that, I found that answer so strange because it was almost like you got, mind you, this is a guy that presents himself as a pastor, as a representative of Jesus Christ and God, and to whom much is given, much is required. Meaning if you are put in a position or you claim to be in a position as high as that, much is required from you, right? But I found it so strange because his answer was more seemingly leaning to him keeping his mouth shut. That way he could gather enough evidence so he could win some lawsuits for defamation. But it's just like, there would be nothing for anybody to talk about if you just came out and told what happened. If it was the truth, Okay. And then that would be it. There's always going to be people that are going to be talking and having differences of opinions. But if what he was saying was the truth, but he said that he was keeping quiet in order to.
Working on the defamation cases, they said it's easier to win a defamation case the more the people talk. And so they've been collecting a lot of evidence over the past while. And
to be honest, in my unprofessional opinion, I really think that this is a strategy of JP's in order for him to try to get that message out there to maybe content creators that are saying things that he doesn't like, to just kind of like sprinkle it out there that they've been collecting information and there's going to be lawsuits coming or something. Like, there's a reason why he said that, and it's just so weird.
Also in the interview, he was asked if he missed Micah, and he said yes. And he was asked if he knew that this was coming, the situation, and he said yes. He went on and on about why and how. But then he said that Micah desperately wanted to come home, meaning with him, but she couldn't because she was afraid her family was going to disown her and that her family would not let her.
the week she died, we didn't talk that entire week. I'd emailed her several times that week, and my regular emails are sending her letters telling her that I love her. And she came over to the house. The last time I saw her was a few weeks before she passed away. We spent about 4 hours together, and we hugged and kissed, and she was in and out of psychotic conversations. She would say, you know, one thing about double agents that are following her. That was one of the phrases she would use when she was off her meds, double agents. The other phrase she would say, she wants to come home so bad, but her family won't let her. And, but
Thanks, y'all.
she desperately wanted to come home. She was just so afraid her family would disown her.
I find that so hard to believe.
Right. Angie, thank you. Yes, I saw something about that.
I find that, now don't get me wrong, I'm sure she probably had a lot of confusing thoughts in her mind. I mean, you don't go through what Micah went through, getting married young, then being possibly wooed, or some people would use the word groomed, you know, by your pastor, and then having an affair, and then marrying him after you've been babysitting his kids and best friends with his wife, and then now you're with him, and now you're the one caught up in his web of mess, and then you're getting...
Yeah, even just that alone, I think the majority of people will be like, this is a bit much. This is just a wee bit much, isn't it?
Ready to lose everything that you've built with this man and been by his side, and he's got all these connections because he's the pastor. He's got all these connections. You don't get out of that situation and not be a little bumpy, we'll say, up there, like a little, like that road ain't as smooth up there maybe as it could have been had you not gone down that way. But for him to say that she wanted to come back to him, and that's why she was feeling like this, and it was her family that you have to, like, even in this situation, you have to have like real nerve to even get up and say those types of things. Like, that's wild to me. He also said in the interview that Micah had lost 40 pounds in 1 month, and nobody else around her seemed to notice or care.
She had lost 40 pounds in a month, and nobody that was in her life thought to take care of her.
That's like over a pound a day.
Nobody. She was living with a former registered nurse. Her family, quote unquote, were taking care of her. She lost 40 pounds in 1 month, and no one thought she needed help.
Which 40 pounds in 1 month is a lot of weight. I don't know if she lost it or not, but I do know that there was a lot of photos of her in like gym clothes. So was she working out? Because I do know that a lot of people, when they break up from a relationship that maybe was toxic or they weren't super happy in, a lot of the times people...
They want to feel better about themselves, and so they work on themselves. Physically, mentally, everything else. Donna, what the heck is that? Thank you so much. Donna with the meteor shower mama all of a sudden. Haven't seen that in years. Only been on TikTok for a little over a year, but you know what I mean. Damn, let's keep going.
Go into taking care of themselves and rebuilding themselves and getting healthy and working out. You know, like Khloe Kardashian had that television show years ago, Revenge Body.
And a lot of the times when people...
What? Oh, God, thank God I missed that one. You what?
People are going through hard times, they focus on fitness because of the endorphins and because of the serotonin that you get naturally from working out and eating right. And so there's a million different reasons why Micah could have lost weight if she lost weight. But for him to suggest that it was all mental health,
Morgan, thank you.
to me just seems like very convenient for his narrative that he's trying to spin.
So I don't even know what he's talking about with that. And when he was doing this interview, y'all, it's like, this is what I think. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw this little piece out here. The interview to me is like a typical person that is like this, that they know what they've done or what they've got going on. Everybody's talking. They sit back, they take notes about what everybody's saying. So then later they can come forward and try to get in front of every idea in order to control the narrative. So he goes into talking about how the Facebook post that she made, she was in a delusional state.
No one thought she needed help. She's making videos on Facebook.
Oh, I see what she's saying. She's saying that he literally sat back for like a month and a half, 2 months, was like seeing what people were talking about, what was getting the most traction, and then coming up with a way to say, well, of course that she was making Facebook posts is because she wasn't in her right mind. Of course I wrote that letter, but I didn't actually do any of that stuff. It's because she told me if I did it, she'd start taking her medicine again. I see what she's trying to say. Ooh, what do y'all think? Is that possible? What do you think? Thumbs up? Yes. Thumbs down? No. No, let me know.
And if you see the videos, you know it's not her because she has a different cadence, a different tone, a different amount of words per minute when she's healthy and on medicine than when she's off. And the way she was even looking into space when she's taking those videos, you knew she was delusional. And if somebody loved her enough to take her to a professional and say,
You guys remember the videos where she's, and I posted some of these in my other videos and I'm going to show y'all here too, but she was on Facebook talking and he said you could see that she was delusional because she was staring off into space while she was talking. And I'm sitting there listening to him like, who is buying this?
Christina Randall literally did the same thing right then when she was talking about it. Did y'all catch that? Look, they have the same face, the same, like that's what you do when you're talking to the camera sometimes. I mean, I'll try to look at TikTok, but TikTok, it's weird if I look at you right there, right? Like that's uncomfortable. I have to look at TikTok right there, like right around here. That's where it seems real. And YouTube, it's the same thing. I look at y'all. If I look here, y'all are like, what the hell? Quit looking into my soul. But if I look right down here, hey, then it's not as bad. But look, they're literally doing the same thing. And
Off into space while she was talking. And I'm sitting there listening to him like, who is buying this? I make videos with y'all, been making videos here over 6 years. I stare in this direction sometimes when I'm talking, because when you do like that, you're thinking, you're trying to pull that memory down, like you're envisioning what you're talking about. And he's literally up here in this interview saying that she made these Facebook posts because she was in a delusional state. And I think he was doing that because the Facebook post, she was talking about people being in relationships.
So you don't have to stay in a relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs or alcohol abuse or physical abuse. Psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So, I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first.
But she desperately wanted to come home. She was just so afraid her family would disown her.
And so he's trying to get in front of that narrative right now by saying she was in a delusional state when she made those videos.
And so I went back and rewatched those videos that Micah posted on her Facebook, and she seems so level.
yeah, look at that. She's like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. That's in the morning. If you're in those kind of moods and those kind of states, you're not getting up, beating the damn sun up. You know what I mean? You're not like sitting dry. Like, look, she's like makeup on. She got damn earrings in. She got that hair did. She probably got like an iced hazelnut latte right down there next to her. She's like, "What's up? I'm about to kick this day's bootiest Maximus." You know what I mean? Like, she's like, it'd be one thing if, like, you know those videos where people are like in their beds, like with their covers up, and they're just like, or hanging the hell out of a truck, laying in the grass, going, I feel like I'm gonna be Jesus and the ants are biting me all over my me. That's what it should look like if you're in those kind of states. I guess. I don't know. I'm not a professional. I'm not a doctor anymore.
How dare you?
No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like that. Come on. Let's keep going, shall we?
Headed and very genuine and speaking truthfully from her heart. You could just sense a sense of realness.
CJ, stop it with the Mad TV Stewart. Look what I can do. Isn't that what he said? I remember that. Mad TV for the win. I always preferred Mad TV over SNL and all the other ones.
From her. Totally opposite from the way it is when you watch John Paul Miller speak. And I think that scared the crap out of him. I think that could be why he wanted her on medication so bad. As a matter of fact, he continuously said that she needed to take the type of medication that he takes. Listen to this.
So for the past 4 weeks, I've had the most horrible battle and horrible time of my entire life. I've never, ever, not even close, been through what I'm going through right now in life. Not even close. Horrible. I mean, horrible, so bad. I'm seeing a psychiatrist every week. I'm on 900 milligrams of lithium. I'm seeing a counselor every week. I'm going to inner healing. I'm going to deliverance 3 times a week with pastors in the area. I'm doing everything I can just to be able to get out of bed.
And so
Oh my word. See, get out of bed. See, I just said that. The inverse is like when they just lay in bed. They're just like,
week before she passed away,
Key, thank you for that. Appreciate that. I saw that. Key, what you doing, Key? Hey, long time no see.
I probably emailed her maybe 7 or 8 times that week just saying, I love you. You need your lithium. You know, don't forget who you are when you're on medicine versus who you are when you're off.
Switch medication. Makes me go crazy.
She was on her meds with me. She was healthy and happy.
That part.
And even if she did get low or stop taking her medicine, I would help her get back on it.
Like the medicine, I think that's just his only way to kind of control the narrative is to talk about how mentally ill she was whenever she wasn't mentally ill her whole life. She only had any kind of signs, in his opinion, of being mentally ill since
When she was with him.
the day they got married.
Oh my God, the day they got married even? I wonder what this guy thinks. Has anybody talked to TikTok? You can't see who I'm pointing at, but I'm pointing at Micah's first husband. What does he think about all this?
But I never experienced any bipolar or mental illnesses with Micah. She was very out. You know, she was very real in her conversations with you. She wasn't off the wall. Let's put it that way.
So she was never unstable.
No, but from what was happening to her with JP, and knowing JP back when I first met him, you know, he had disorders that he was taking medication for and stuff. So I mean, just
Jennifer, right?
Just hanging around with John Paul, he could make you feel like you're kind of running around. Yeah.
And 3 to 4 months after they got married is when she was first hospitalized.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Agatha May for the win, y'all. Tag her. Get her in here.
And with that, because he talked a lot about Micah allegedly being diagnosed with schizophrenia, which I find so questionable, because I'm not saying, again, she did not have mental issues. I don't see how she could not after being in this situation. Just saying. But somebody that is dealing with schizophrenia, that is not like just anxiety or certain other things. I don't want to minimize any type of struggle somebody has, but schizophrenia is very, very different.
Just like people.
There you go, CJ.
People don't care to hear the truth. They just want to go off of feelings and believe, whoever screams the loudest rather than whoever, has the proof.
Go off of feelings.
Do you feel that you did anything that you would change? Do you feel any part responsible?
God, that's a great question. Man, that's such a good question. Wow, what a good question. Can I have a second to think about it?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's such a...
That's the craziest part to me. Still, that is the craziest part to me. Is there anything that you would have done different? If you could change something, is there anything you would change? And you have to think about saying, I wish I was there to stop this from happening. How is that not immediately? Is there anything you would change? I wish I was there. I wish I could have stopped it. I wish I could have done anything in that moment on that day to make sure that this didn't happen the way that it did. But you go, let me think about it. I wouldn't let her parents know anything. What?
Question, what would I do differently? Oh man. I know what I do. I know what I do. I would not involve her family when she's having mental episodes and is schizophrenic.
So you'd isolate her from her family. That's what not telling her family about something like that.
And is off her meds. I would never have texted them.
I also found it very interesting that J.P. Miller, in multiple interviews, raved and raved about what a wonderful husband he was to her and how he took care of her better than anybody could ever take care of her, and how she never had to cook and she never had to clean and he never did anything to harm her. And
what if she liked to cook and you kept taking that away from her? You know what I mean? Some people like to cook.
Anyway,
I took better care of her than any man could.
I like cooking. I cook some damn good food. I cook some damn good food.
Possibly taking care of her in every way. She never had to cook a single meal. She never had to clean not one time. She never had to work. All she had to do was take her medicine and enjoy her life.
However, he even spoke in a sermon before about how he found text messages from multiple people within the church, texting her, reaching out to her about him.
When my wife went in the hospital, I looked at her phone and I counted over the past 2 years, 18 people who had texted her and said, if you ever want to talk about your husband, you can talk to me and say anything and I'll keep it confidential.
Now, why in the world would 18 people text Micah to check on her, to comfort her?
If he was the model husband, if there was no issues, why would 18 people? I can imagine there's one, maybe two shady ass friends that are like, girl, you need to text me about him. He, me. You know what I mean? Like there might, you ladies, you have that one friend that no matter how happy you are, they're always going to be like, girl, he ain't good. And you're like, chill out. There might be one, maybe two, but you know what I'm saying. Let's keep going.
If he was the most
thanks for the content, though.
Wonderful husband in the world. I mean, everybody can't be wrong. All of her family, all of her friends, the people in the church, Micah, it was everybody's delusional except for John Paul Miller. I mean, I really doubt it. And
after a while, you have to break it down. Like, who's the common denominator here? Oh, crap.
If any of those interviews kind of tugs at your heartstrings and you think maybe he's telling the truth, all I've got to do, for my own opinion, is go back to the police reports that his first wife...
That's it, SOC. You know it. Nice peach, by the way.
...filed about him years ago. Back in 2016. Back when she said he wouldn't leave her alone. He would come by the house, he would get the kids, and he would use the kids as an excuse to bring the kids up to her job so he could see her and say, oh, so-and-so, our kid wants to see you. And he would keep doing that. And she also said that he went as far as moving into the house basically across the street from her. So she had a house and there was like this little area out in front, and then there was another house across that, and he moved into that.
Crazy. Keister, yes, you absolutely can. That's totally different. I'd love to see when everybody's coming in.
that house, and she could see green laser lights and stuff being pointed.
But when you get mad at me and you rage quit whatever platform you're watching, that's when I'm like,
Bruh.
get out of here.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Pointed into her garage and stuff at nighttime. He was watching her.
And if you see here at the bottom of this report, she showed the officer a video, and the officer stated that he saw the video and it showed a green light being shined into the victim's residence from across the lake, approximately where the suspect lives. The
he had one of them laser pointers.
Suspect allegedly being her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband at this point, John Paul Miller. And another little interesting fact is if you look at the top paragraph here, it states that the couple had been separated for a year and going through a divorce, which is interesting timing because Micah and John Paul Miller were separated for a year and going through a divorce.
And I bet y'all, and I said this in my other video, that his ex-wife is watching all this going, whoa, it could have been me. Thank God she had her kids to, you know, sometimes when you're in these types of relationships, those kids give you strength to get up, get away, get them safe if you feel like you're in that situation. Micah's family desperately wants this law put into place called Micah's Law. And in this, it will protect people, either a man or a woman, depending on who is in the vulnerable situation in a relationship, from being manipulated to these types of degrees.
It's called the Coercive Control Bill. They want to call it Micah's Law. They claim that she had a journal that shows she was a victim of abusive, coercive control. The definition of includes
that smirk, man. That is creepy right there. Y'all catch that one?
Things like isolation from family and friends, depriving of basic needs, threats to reveal private information, monitoring communications, and financial abuse. Those are some big allegations. Have you ever done any of these things to Micah?
Never.
Our family wants to have Micah remembered as the amazing person she was throughout all of this. We wouldn't shine any negative light on her, what she did, anything that would control her whole life. We would never even want to speak negatively about John Paul either, because that's what
I said the other day, is that it's like if you knew nothing about this case and you just saw how her family didn't say, we want Micah's Law so that JP's held accountable. They never said that. They said, we want Micah's Law so that no one else gets hurt. They went straight to caring about the victims and saying it has nothing to do with him necessarily. We just don't want anything like this to happen to anyone ever. But he on the opposite is saying like, well, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for them. You know what I mean? He goes straight to like them, not being like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I never did any of this stuff. And absolutely, this law makes sense. Why isn't this in place? Because I didn't do this to her, and I wouldn't want it done to anybody else. So absolutely, he should be endorsing it, not saying it's all fake and the family's the reason why everything happened. What? That's wrong. Don't think about it. Come on. That's like 101. Hey, this thing that would help people, you know, these laws that would help people in horrible situations that I didn't do ever, I should probably help that, not try to fight it. Isn't that weird? I don't know. That's weird to me. Let's continue.
Christians do either. We let, like, God can take control of this situation. Then we let the law enforcement do what they need to do to protect Micah. The family has a lot of awesome plans for us to pick up where Micah left off in her charity work and everything. We want to continue to be that light towards the world.
See? And that's what, and her whole thing, Micah's whole thing was like mission trips and helping people. And then the sister just said it. We want to pick up where she left off. And in her name, help other people. In her name, help other people. JP. I mean, I mean, why would you stand in the way of that? Right now, you're innocent, right? You did nothing wrong. You're completely innocent. No charges, no anything. All right? Why would you stand in the way? Why would you do anything? Why would you even fight with the family at all? I think that at that point, even if, y'all, and this is a huge if, even if, like, it comes out and, like, we're all just 180 and we're like, whoa. And, like, hypothetically, everything was because of the family. Even still, you would not do you would still be like, oh my God. Well, I loved her and I want to help other people because she's gone now. Not just call that out and run them. It's insane to me, because the reverse of that is what her family's doing right now. They're saying, we're not trying to, I mean, he's saying all these things, but we just want to help people. We just want to help people. It's insane, y'all. I don't know. Getting crazy over here.
That Micah was, and we don't want her absence to leave a hole or anything. We want to all fill that hole, and that's why we believe so much that Regina is a good person to help us do that, because then Micah's law can be introduced and more people can be helped. As much as John Paul thinks he's one of a kind person, there's tons of men like him, and there's tons of females like him that want to do the same thing to others that he did to Micah. And that's why this Micah's law is so important.
I hope that they get that. The power dynamic between John Paul Miller and her is just so drastic. He acted like he was the best husband anybody could ever ask for in the whole entire world. But then we have the video too, where he's literally threatening to expose her
photographs. Angie, thank you. So sweet.
Her online by posting a topless photo of her on Facebook. And allegedly he did. But in this interview, he said he never did. He said it was all her delusion. Can you believe that?
Walk away.
I'll show you the pictures.
Do you want to go to jail?
Was that a police officer right there? I just noticed that the guy on the left right there. Is that a police officer? That kind of looks like a badge up there. Was there already police there? That looks like a uniform, doesn't it?
I'll show you the pictures.
Do you want to go to jail?
They'll be on Facebook in a few hours.
Alrighty, you'll be in jail in a few hours.
I did not slash
Amy, thank you.
the tire. I did not. I don't think there's a naked picture of her anywhere ever. Anyway, I think that was just a made-up thing.
Amy.
I think that JP Miller knows that information is going to come out, and he's got to get in front of it. And that's what he thinks he's doing. He thinks he's controlling the narrative. And it's fascinating to watch. It's fascinating to watch this person scramble and think that he's probably been wooing people for a long time.
Wooing people. Stu and Drew, thank you. I saw that.
And he's probably been able to be charismatic and get people to believe and follow him. And now it's not happening anymore. And unfortunately, it took Micah in this situation to snap a lot of people out of it and for people's eyes to be open to what was going on, because now a lot of people can see clearly. And I think that when that diary or that journal comes out, if her family ever releases it, I don't think her family wants to release anything that's going to make her look in a negative light at all. And I get that. I totally get it. But I think that he wants everybody to believe that Micah was just so sick and seeing things that weren't there and hearing things that weren't there, so he can act like he was the best husband that tried to save her and everybody was against him and victimize himself.
They're the biggest idiots on planet Earth. I am the only one not to blame. I am the only one not to blame. I am the only one not to blame.
Oh, and just for a little bit of
whoa,
razzle dazzle here at the end of the video, did y'all see the interview that he did with like the people from TikTok? They showed up at his house. I think it was on, I'll put the name of the TikToker right up here on the screen so you guys can check them out and link the video down below. But when they got him to come outside to interview, he was just so, in my opinion, consumed with the audience and what they thought about him.
So somebody asked about my tattoos, and so these are my favorite scriptures are here, but I got one at a time because I didn't think I was going to ever get more than one tattoo, and I just kept going back and going. Yeah.
Can I? Is it okay if I ask you a question that somebody asked?
I'll see. Let me say this: I want to answer everything, but I don't want to answer it without me holding up my proof and showing it to you, because I think it's just ignorant for someone to just give, their opinion or say something and not have proof behind it when it's something as serious as this is. And so I'll be doing that next week, and I'll love to send you the proof and everything along with the affidavit, most likely. Okay. Oh, am I allowed to touch it? Scroll down because somebody said something I couldn't see. They said,
yeah, it's going fast.
JP, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's going fast. Who said be respectful? That was so nice. Someone named Bonnie. Somebody said, I love the attention. What kind of attention? I hadn't talked to anybody or seen anybody. And they say I love attention. Oh, people are just mean too sometimes.